Hello, I'm Toycat, and this is the ultimate Minecraft 1.21 seed. This is something you can view spoiler-free by skipping ahead to this time, but otherwise, the way we did this is by starting with 500 Minecraft seeds, whittling those down to the best 5%, and then narrowing it down even further to get the best 10 or so seeds. And I think it's especially important right now because we are in the pre-release period where there aren't any automated seed searching tools, but also at the exact same time, it's so important to have a decent trial chamber somewhere near your spawn, and so hopefully you enjoy this video, like it if you do, etc. But let's go through how we did this. Well, we started with 500 seeds, Ultimate 1, Ultimate 2, all the way down to Ultimate 500. This made them easy to write in the seed field for my console people, but also easy to make sure we didn't miss one when searching. We filtered using chunk-based to only search seeds that had a trial chamber within 80 blocks of spawn, or failing that, the trial chamber could be within 160 blocks, but also have a pillager outpost or ancient city or other notable features in that same area. So applying this to our list of 500 took a very long time, but it did immediately eliminate 467 seeds, leaving us with 33 left over. That is just over our 5% target, so seems like it's a pretty decent one, and that means that we now have 33 Minecraft seeds. At this point, we could say we got 33 great seeds. Pick any of these, but obviously the challenge here is to get the ultimate one, and so from these 33, I then had to eliminate ones that were just not up to par with the rest, either because they had trial chambers at the very edge of acceptability, or if they just didn't sound very interesting. And so that means that even though some of these met the criteria, we had to lose 256 and 500. Sad, they're very special numbers, but that means that we had 15 left because I just didn't feel comfortable eliminating any more. I wanted to get down to the top 10, but right now we're going to go through the top 15, and from these we'll be working out which is the best by taking 3 separate factors which I think are very important to anyone who's picking a seed. One is how good is the spawn area. We'll define that as meaning within 432 blocks in any direction. We'll say how easily accessible are the trial chambers. That is the 1.21 feature on everyone's mind after all. And then finally, how unique is the seed. There are 10 points for each of these 3 categories, and there'll be 30 points on offer therefore if you can be the best at all 3, or 0 points if you're somehow the worst. So let's type in Ultimate 32 and let's see exactly what it has to offer, at least to you. And oh wow, immediately you can see there's a ruin portal and a desert temple here at spawn. Those are both very good structures for the early game because they give you chests which can reward you with small things like golden leggings, a golden apple, and some flint and steel, or big things like some iron ingots, and indeed some armor trims, and even a saddle. Wow, that is really special, made even more special by the fact that just outside this desert temple is a pit of lava. Wow, this feels like it can't get any better, but then you find a big cave down here. The cave gets tantalizingly close to the trial chambers, but never quite touches it. However, what you'll also find is this, a zombie spawner literally actually touching it. So from here, you can mine your way in, and then you would have a trial chamber basically directly below spawn. Wait, did I say basically? Sorry, what I meant to say by that is if you literally were at the spawn area and dug directly down, it would take you a long time, and so it's not the most efficient method, but if you dig down from the very place that you spawn, you'll find yourself in a trial chamber. Wow, isn't that handy? And so if you wanted to, you could get here within seconds. It's not the very most convenient, but it sure is pretty great. And it's filled with ominous vaults, regular vaults, all the things that you need to make special places from this. And indeed, just one that's very handy to know is this ominous vault that's hidden just back there. You'll need that. You also might want these beds in a more exciting color. Something delightful that you just can't pick up on a seed checker is something like this room. Look how nice it looks. Do you see anything notable about it? That's right, there's a breeze spawner hanging out in the middle. Wow! Having access to a breeze spawner, also having access to bogs in the same room means that you could fight both of these new mobs at the same time, and I think it's pretty cool, and you just wouldn't notice that anywhere else. And so yeah, I think that's the most notable thing about this trial chamber. I can't keep this bit up anymore. Look at that! There's a vault hiding inside of a... What the heck is that doing here? It's got crystals growing off the side of it. This is blowing my mind. Okay, so this is pretty incredible, I think we can agree. So to finish reviewing this seed, I obviously have to start looking at least a little bit further in every direction to see what else is out there. In this case, a jungle and a village are also big points for the spawn area. Having a mesa and a desert and a jungle and a savanna and a plains all next to each other is pretty darn great. Honestly, there's a real chance that this one ends up being the very best all by itself. In the other direction, we do sadly only have ocean, but it seems like eventually that does break, so it's not as big of a detriment as you might otherwise think. Outside of the obvious problems that you'd have with crossing this ocean, honestly, it's a pretty nice one too, being warm ocean, so even the worst bits of this seed are actually still pretty darn decent. So, after a few more minutes of checking around, and after finding a pillager outpost which is just outside of that 432 block radius, so we won't be adding it to the scores today, I think we're finally ready to say, how good is this seed? So as far as the quality of the spawn, this is decently up there. I think this is a 8 out of 10. It does a really, really good job. As far as the accessibility of the trial chambers, on a normal seed, you would give this a 9. You'd give this, like very, very high. But given that our criteria was specifically looking for close to the spawn trial chambers, this one is a little bit fiddly, and so I'm going to give it a 5. That sounds very harsh, but trust me, we're going to be seeing better examples. I hope at the very least. And finally, the uniqueness of this seed. So far, as far as all the other seeds that I've checked out prior to this 500 in this video, I would have to say that this one really, really is, it's got uniqueness, but in the great ways. It's got really good access to structures, it's got a really nice cave, it's got lots of different exploration opportunities, and then also has some fun biomes, which add to not just being a decent spawn, but being a unique and memorable world that you might actually want to make into something long term. And so I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice 8 out of 10 for uniqueness as well. 8, 5, 10, add those scores up and you get the total, which is 21 out of 30. Very respectable, could end up being the very best. Who knows? Let's compare it to the second seed. Next up, we have the seed Ultimate 50, which immediately spawns you by a new dog, but it's not a 1.21 feature, so we'll ignore him, and instead focus on the rest of the seed, which looks like, at least from this surface view, is very, 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 very spruce tree heavy. In fact, every direction. I'm sure in 432 blocks, that's the only tree you're finding, so not a lot of variety in spawn, but it makes up for that with a close-by trial chambers. Actually not as close as you'd expect, all the way out over here. You have to walk for a solid minute to get to this. That's absolutely crazy. And then there you can see there's no particularly easy route in. This might be the most accessible point, being found at Y17, but even then you're still digging down about 60 blocks because of the fact that it's found on a slightly hillier part of the taiga biome. So not the most compelling access point for a trial. It does have a mangrove tree, and then it also has probably one of my favorite trial rooms. This is a really good one in my opinion. But outside of that, I would say it's a fairly standard trial chamber, and so overall, I don't think this is a particularly unique seed in any sense of the word. There's no easy access, there's no, unique selling points. It just feels like a worse version of the previous seed in basically every way, except for the biome choice. I say biome choice as if you've got multiple ones of it, by the way. But yeah, I think I'm ready to say already that this is going to have to be, as far as the quality of the access point for the trials, it's a 3 out of 10. It's slightly harder than the previous one, which at least had a cave to help you out. The best point to access it happens to be under a mountain, which makes it even worse. And the quality of the spawn area, this is someone's perfect spawn, don't get me wrong, but even that person would say, but I'd like some diversity, I'd like to have access to additional biomes, and so I don't think we're going very big on that one either. And so finally, how unique is it? I mean, it's got a village of a different type than most people are used to. It's a taiga village, but covered in snow. That's kind of fun. It's got a trial chambers. That's kind of fun. But for the purpose of this, it's going to be like a 2, right? So yeah, not great overall. Our third seed has a really wonderful spawn area here. It's a plains biome that has a lot of different biomes along the edges, but still plenty of space for building immediately if you wanted to. You could flatten this out and make a server spawn from it, or you could just run off in any direction you choose. I really like this vibe of a spawn, even though it doesn't have structures necessarily, but what I like even more is the easy access to a trial chambers. If you just dig down from more or less where you spawn, go a few blocks forwards if you need to, you will find yourself inside side of a cave. And if you find a ravine just over here at these coordinates, you can dig down and save about 30 of the blocks on the way down. Easy in and easy out, huh? Anyway, so now comes the question of how well does this seed rank? Well, as much as I love these ravines and I love all of the underwater caves that kind of connect this all, the truth is, ultimately, I don't think it is highly unique. I think it has a very good spawn area. Yeah, I love this spawn. I feel like if you were picking a random seed, this would be great. You'd give this like a 9 out of 10. The access to the trial chambers is going to be a 6, I would say. It's slightly easier than the average, but not by a huge amount. And uniqueness is going to be like a 3. It's a good seed, and its uniqueness is in its goodness, but nothing else is especially wow factor about this. And so 9 and a 6 and a 3, that makes a total of 18. Pretty good. This next seed is one that was specifically picked because of the interesting biomes at spawn, and that is something you can really notice already. There is old growth birch and also a taiga forest and also a swamp over here, a regular forest over there, and then some form of hill up here. But it gets even more interesting because as we head towards that hill, we can find something that is kind of a 2-in-1. It is a slightly more convenient way to access a trial chamber, and also, as you can see, it's some dripstone cave. So without knowing the exact way to dig from here, I believe if we just head kind of straight down past the waterfall here and a little bit diagonally downwards, we can end up in the trial chamber in as few as about 10 blocks. Apparently I'm wrong about that. No, here we are. Yeah, about 15, 20 blocks in. So in exchange for going an extra 50, 60 blocks away from spawn, you can dig fewer blocks to get to your trial chamber. I would say that almost cancels out, so I would say it's not a hugely more accessible trial chamber. The trial chamber itself, after looking through briefly in spectator mode, it looked fairly fine. I don't have anything hugely negative or positive to say about this. It felt a bit on the small side. I mean, I can only see a couple of trials right here, but that's a fairly normal thing. It just doesn't make it unique in any good ways. It just makes it a trial chamber that is over here, I guess. And then we have the fact that it's got this entrance room, maybe unique if it's the first time you're in here, but otherwise nothing too special, just a few interesting biomes and even more interesting spawners with dripstones inside of them. But yeah, uniqueness on this side is one of its big upsides, because I would say as far as actual utility of the spawn area, fairly low. It's not got enough biomes and enough types of trees to be an incredible start to a world, just enough to be an interesting one. So I'll give it a 4 for the quality of the spawn area, because it's something. It's just not for me. Accessibility to the trial chamber will bring it up to a 5. It's handy that it's there, but it's not as handy as it could be. You can turn that into something really handy later though, so I'll give it some real good points for uniqueness. I think that this is a 7 on the uniqueness scale. I just don't know why you would want this particular form of uniqueness, but maybe this is the seed for you. If so, you're free not to use my particular ultimate seed. I like this one, just not as much as some of the other ones. This next seed is one that has a trial chamber very close to spawn, but also has a very unique taiga biome frozen beach. This is something which is stacked up with the rest of the seed. As you can see, there's not just taiga, there's frozen taiga, a village, and then also some iceberg, so as much biome diversity as you can get within a monoculture, I guess. And also, if you go just 100 blocks to the west of spawn, you get one of the easiest access points for a trial chamber I've seen yet. It is a little further away, to be sure, so it's not a perfect 10 out of 10, but if you go straight into this hole, you'll see not only are there diamonds in here, so get yourself some free diamond, well actually, I say diamonds, get yourself some free diamond, and then from down here at the very bottom, you can just start digging this way, and literally 10 blocks away, you will find the trial chamber. This is something which is absolutely wonderful if you ask me, and it's a pretty good place to enter in my opinion too. It's the safe part of a dangerous chamber, so you can head right out of here if you want to. Wait, you can also head right over to this if you want to, but you can head right out of here immediately if you feel like it, and you can get out into the rest of the trial chamber, or you can start fighting this one immediately. There are a lot of vaults, it is worth saying, and that is always a big plus too. But yeah, as far as the overall seed, I gave it a real good looking around, and the biggest thing I liked was this over here. This is always one of the best parts of the Caves and Cliffs update. When you happen to have this in your world, it's so cool. A giant lava-filled cavern, so it's filled with diamonds and stuff too, but a lava-filled cavern with a little bit of lush cave and a little bit of mineshaft. It is so beautiful in my opinion, and this is so special. Admittedly, it's underground, and like, you know, when you find these things by specifically digging for them, it does take some of the edge and the specialness away, but I think it's still such a cool place to one day go into, if that's what you're going for. And indeed, this is the sort of cave that makes you want night vision vision potions in survival, which give it some real credit for that, but what we can also give credit to is the seed in general. It's really questionable as far as the spawn area goes. It's as good as you can get is what I described it as, but as good as you can get is not a great way to describe a tiger biome. I'm going to give it a 4 because at least it's got variety. For the trial chamber accessibility, I'm giving that a 7. I feel like maybe even an 8 would be warranted if it was just a little bit closer. And then I'm going to give the uniqueness of this seed a solid 4 or 5, maybe 5. You know, I'll go with 5 for this one because it is very standard. There are so many tiger seeds like this, and I always roll my eyes and go, okay, guess we got to deal with one of these because it just keeps on going in every direction. So, could be better, could be a lot better, but still, not that bad. 16 overall, not the best seed from this list. Ultimate 101 sounds particularly exciting to me because, as you can see, you spawn on a desert island, but what's to the left of that? A jungle. Wow, actually, a pillager outpost is right here too. Whoa! And then what's in front of you? Is that a mushroom biome? It is a mushroom biome. And according to the notes on this one, under that mushroom biome, we'll find something interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our night vision, we're going to turn on spectator mode, and we're going to see what we find below spawn. As you can see, there are no trial chambers below there, because supposedly they're hanging out underneath the mushroom biome. This should give them a huge advantage. This is a huge mushroom biome though. I could see how you get lost. It has a ruined portal, multiple lava pits. This seed is vying for ultimate utility seed, but the ultimate utility you might want after 1.21 is a trial chamber, and I'll be honest, I don't think it's providing them. Do you think Minecraft has a rule against them spawning here, or is it just so big that I can't see exactly where they are without exactly knowing the location? Okay, huge boon for this seed is, according to the game, it's actually much closer to spawn than it seemed on our initial checks, and so here we are, a trial chamber that is barely below the ocean. Do you see this right here? This is the ocean surface. You dig down about 12, 13 blocks and you're above it. This is at Y34. It is crazy just how close to the top of the ocean this is. But then this is not just any trial chamber. As you can see, we've got 1 trial, we've got 2 trials, we've got a giant entrance room, we've got a 3rd trial, and do I see a 4th? I do in fact. Oh no, I see a huge hallway, and there is the 4th trial. So 4 trials all mixed together with a huge number of hallways and other rooms between them. This is a huge amount of structure if you're looking for copper or you're looking for the tuff. But overall, yeah, that is an insane one to find, but it's not the only one to find. So we'll use the exact same command now, but with true at the end. Oh, I'm going to spell it correctly. And that will allow us to find the next one, which actually is going to be underneath the mushroom. No, that's way too far away. That can't be it. Yeah, Minecraft commands don't know what they're talking about, but there is a second trial chamber found just over here. It's very far away from the first one so far that I wouldn't really say that you could call it like a double. In fact, this is further away than on most seeds, but this second one is then very close to a 3rd one. So there is some benefit to that, I guess. It is within 432 blocks of spawn, so I can call this a big plus as well. But I wouldn't say you get massive points for this. I would say the much more interesting thing about this world spawn is that you have a desert that you spawn in. It's an island desert with a pillager outpost, and then also a jungle and a mushroom biome. This is such a fun one to have. This is such a great thing to just, you know, be able to have easy access to in your world. And I think that that is a huge plus for this one. Look how big it is too. That you can get bigger because Bedrock has insane max sizes for mushroom biomes. But the fact that I'm flying and I still haven't reached the end of this says that this is a spawn area it's got to be a 9 out of 10, right? What else are you missing besides a few other handy utility early game structures? As far as access to trial chambers go, honestly it could be an 8, but because it's below water, even though it's just 10 blocks below water near spawn, going underneath water is a pain. Let's be entirely frank and honest with ourselves about that. And so I think that what could be an 8 is getting downgraded to a 6. I think uniqueness of this seed is way off the charts too. This is going to be a seed that you're going to want to come back to. So I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 for uniqueness. So 9, 6, 8. If I'm not mistaken, that makes 23 our current best. This is such a... You would have such a unique experience on this. I could see this being the winner right now. This next seed is another Taiga Biome seed, kind of proving the point about how, yeah, these exist all the time, and it's nice when you get all of the Taiga Biomes, but you still just want something that's not Taiga. This seed has a village within a couple hundred blocks of spawn. It has an igloo, I'm pretty sure that's an igloo over there, and a ruin portal as well, and if you dig straight down from where you spawn, you'll be able to get to a trial chamber in a relatively short amount of time. This is very handy because there's no precise coordinates you have to know. There's nothing like that. Instead, it's just dig 30 blocks down. That gets some big points for handiness, if nothing else. In the same way that this could be like a 5 or 6, I'm going to give it the extra couple of points and say this is an 8 for ease of access to the trial chambers. But as far as the actual quality of the spawn goes, it's nice for a Taiga, but it's a 5 on quality and it's like a 3 on uniqueness. So I'm going to say that this is overall a 16 scorer. It's nice, but it's just never going to be the very best, is it? Our 8th seed today represents the middle of our seed searching endeavors, and indeed you can see why this one is special immediately. It has a big ice spikes biome directly behind me, and also it has one of the furthest distances to go for a trial chamber that we allowed for this list, but there is a good reason for that, and it's because there is a pillager outpost right over there, and almost directly below the pillager outpost you will find your trial chamber. So this is really handy because a pillager outpost gives you an opportunity to get this banner guy killed, which gives you an ominous bottle, which means you can immediately start going for the mace. It is high risk, high reward, and honestly, I think that makes it special enough to justify. It also has frozen rivers going through this entire place, so even though it's a Taiga biome, you should be able to get out a little sooner than normal, although looking around, it doesn't look like that's happening too soon. We can only rank the spawn area as being a better Taiga than normal, but how can we rank the access to the trial chambers? Well, as you can see, if you dig down from here and you're willing to go for a little bit of water, you will end up inside of the trial chambers. There's a really weird section of it over here. Oh, yeah. What is happening here? Is this normal? Did something go wrong here? It really looks like there's a part of the trial chamber it just forgot to generate most of the trial chamber in a way that is kind of bizarre to actually look at. Anyway, so this is a trial chamber. You can access it. It's not amazingly easy, but it does have a big boon. So accessibility to trial chambers, a 4. Uniqueness is a 6 for having the pillager outpost be basically on top of it. But the quality of the spawn, I hate to say it, I like looking at ice spikes biomes, but I like looking at them. If you want to build something that's great to look at, you can build that in your Minecraft world. You don't have to solidify your Minecraft biomes around it. And so 4 for access to trial chambers, 6 for uniqueness, but like 2 for quality of this. This is a 12 overall. Mistake to include it on the list, I guess. But now we know, now that we've explored it, we can know that I would not recommend this one to anyone except the most, I don't know, like art-inspired people. If you want just pretty Minecraft generation, this seed has got you covered. So I want to level with you really quickly. This is a seed that just reading the words for made me think, why am I including this in my top 15? But after spending a little time with it, it might be the very best. Let me show you seed number 9. This is one which is really great looking, just immediately from the spawn. Plains biome, savanna biome, xeric biome, and then a little bit of snowy slopes, all right here together, and that's before mentioning the rest. Very, very lovely. But what makes this seed even better is what happens when you head towards the outpost. So there is a pillager outpost just nicely separated enough from a village that you won't have cross-contamination, but if you want to, you can continuously go back and forth. That's nice by itself. I think the village being on a mountain, also very nice by itself, but even better than both of this is what you'll find if you dig down below the seed. So this was a further distance to a trial chamber than I thought was acceptable, but in exchange, this is the ultimate underground seed. You don't just have a trial chamber, you also have an abandoned mineshaft doing this fun ravine thing where it's kind of floating around, an easily accessible and explorable mineshaft, the kind of super flat kind I really, really love. Then we've got ourselves access to an ancient city. This is always a fun time. If you've experienced it 100 times, doing it in early game Minecraft is still such a thing to be feared. And then over here, what's that? Is that a trial chamber hanging out with the rest of it? Yes, it is, except it's not just one trial chamber. This one is found below the ocean, or actually this one is found below the cherry grove, I should say, which is a fair fairly nice location, I guess I would say, but there are other trial chambers fairly close by to all of this, meaning you don't just have the one trial chamber, but this one is slightly hard to access. And so, technically speaking, for the purpose of this ranking, I do have to say that, yeah, you have to walk all the way from spawn over there to over here by the Cherry Grove and dig down. There's no huge break for doing so. So, relative to the pack, trial chamber accessibility is a free, I think, but the quality of this spawn is very, very high. I think it's a 9 for anyone looking. And for uniqueness, I would say it's also a 9 because of the fact that you have so many high quality things that would exist by themselves somewhat commonly, but getting them all together in one place is just something you won't find at this level of frequency. So that is why I'm going to go ahead and say, just based on what we've seen, this is a 939 or a 21 in total, and there's another ruined portal over here. Yeah, this is quite the special seed, huh? Okay, so here is the easiest way to access the second trial chamber, just for anyone who is watching this and wants to use the seed. Here is an igloo. It doesn't look like it's an igloo, but I swear there is an igloo here. As you can see, very well hidden into the mountainside. Seriously, I don't know how you would know that it is there normally, besides digging through powdered snow. There's an igloo, you can dig down to its basement. This takes you to about Y95. Then from Y95, you just keep digging down another, oh god, 100 blocks. And basically, the trial chambers are there. They are technically accessible, but they are a pain to get to. But compared to a normal seed, I would say very good. It's just we're comparing to today's seeds, and so not so good. This next seed is one that I'm going to be entirely honest with you, I kind of should have written off. I looked through the list a second time, and I was like, oh, why do we leave this in here? But then I realized, you know what? There is a small chance that despite the fact that I feel it's bad... Look at that, by the way. Did you see that random box up there? Very big. Despite the fact that I feel we should have written it off, maybe there's something special here. And you know what? The spawn area is telling me that's true. Desert Temple and Pillager Outpost. And on the way to the Pillager Outpost, or slightly past it, we should find a trial chamber. I am going into this seed with my expectations tiny, so that I won't be whiny. But so far, I mean, you know, what are we seeing? We're seeing... a trial chamber that is kind of, you know, actually not that far from spawn. A very big trial chamber too, actually. Yeah, look at that. You can see so many rooms in here already. 1, 2, 3, 4 trials. Just 5 trials in one chamber. 6 trials in one chamber. As best I can tell, that's all of them. Is there a 7th hanging around? So 6 trials in one chamber. Very, very nice. It's the equivalent of 2 trial chambers smushed together, so we could count that in our accessibility. And also, as you can see right here, there is a big cave, which kind of helps you out. So you have to dig only about 30 of the blocks yourself. The rest can come from handy caves there and here, if you dig from straight here or so. So actually, this is really decent as far as accessibility. As far as the spawn quality goes, we have a Desert Temple, and we have the Trial Chamber, and a Pillager Outpost, which is great, and a Ruin Portal, and I'll keep looking, because I'm not seeing much else. I'm just begging the seed to give me something special, so that I can say this seed wasn't something I should have written off. Because right now it's good. That Trial Chamber is way better. You know, like, when you just see Trial Chambers on a map like Chunk Base, it just says a Trial Chamber. It doesn't say if it's a good Trial Chamber or anything else like that. And so I feel like this is a particularly good trial chamber, and so I'll give it some bonus points for accessibility for that reason, because you only have to dig for 1 trial chamber, where in other seeds you might dig for 2. But otherwise, yeah, in the radius of 400 blocks in each direction, you mostly just find deserts, jungles, and mesa. If you like warm biomes, a great seed. But overall spawn quality is going to be just a 7 for me. I like... the access to the jungle. I like having a big desert. It's handy to build on top of sometimes. But I don't think it's the perfect biome for building. I don't think it's the perfect biome combination even. And the best point will come from the Trial Chambers accessibility. I think it would normally be a 5. It's a bit of a walk and then a bit of a dig. But we'll bring it up to a 6 because you can save access to the second one. And uniqueness, I want to give this, you know, a really, really, really good score, right? But I just don't think it is particularly unique. So 5. 7, 6, 5. For a total of 15. Oh, wait. No, for a total of 18. Pretty good, honestly. Glad we came and checked it out. I think this might be the perfect seed for the right person watching this, though. So I hope that if that is you, you appreciate my bad skills at looking through a list and not crossing something out just because it's a trial chamber and a pillager outpost just about within distance of spawn. Because, yeah, it's a good reminder about why you've got to keep following these things. Whoa! Okay. Looking forward to exploring this one. What a bizarre looking seed. You never see ice spikes looking like this. Again, even if it has terrible everything, this is a unique seed. There is no questioning that. Oh, it's a trial chamber in a ravine, but also underwater. Have you ever seen a partially underwater ravine like this? I feel like I just didn't know they existed. But then inside, oh wow, yeah, this is weird on so many levels. It looks like the trial chamber literally opens out into it for some reason too. That is not how this is meant to work. I think we found a very unique, very buggy seed. But yeah, as far as accessibility, you can get into it. Do you see this mountain next to spawn, by the way? Something cool about this is it's actually hollow. There's a giant cave in here. I don't know how I would use that to my advantage, but I know there's got to be something you can do about that. Like using the inside of a cave to make a giant base that looks like you carved it out, but actually is kind of sitting in the hollow space. This seed is filled with opportunities to do weird things, right? Looking down here, what do we see? We see some mushrooms for some reason. I haven't found anything that makes me go, this is a seed I would recommend to people for good reasons. I just keep finding weird things in it, which I kind of love if I'm being honest. You know what would win me over is if we could find something that wasn't... Wait, I'm seeing in the distance there. There is, in fact, within 400 blocks of spawn, not frozen biomes. This is such a rarity on these icy seeds. Having iciness and having this frozen winter style biome, but without having to commit to having it be everything within 1,000 blocks. I'm starting to want to be a salesperson for the seed, so let me give you my best pitch. This world has a very, very, very interesting spawn area. The utility of it is low because even though this is an interesting ice spikes biome, how does an interesting ice spikes biome help you? It's a nice thing to look at, but you can't give it too many points for that. Having that mountain is cool, but how does it help you? Having that village is actually somewhat useful, and having the trial chamber is nice, but that is a given on this. So as far as spawn quality goes, it's only going to be a 5, helped massively by not having to stay frozen. Access to the trial chambers is also kind of a cool one in my opinion, because of the fact that it just spawns in that ravine. You can dig down anywhere from around here if you really want to, and if you will, that's kind of great. But if you dig into this ravine in particular, you only have to dig about 30 blocks from the surface, some of that going through water, and then you'll end up with one of the weirdest access points you've ever had. So we can't give extra points for weird at this stage, so if spawn area quality is a 5, accessibility to the trial chambers is a 4, but spawn uniqueness, I cannot overstate how much this seed talks to me. This has got to be a 9. I want to give it a 9.5 even, but you know, let's round up to a 10. Let's say that, you know, no scale of uniqueness shouldn't include this on its 10. It would be such a weird experience playing on this world. And so I think overall, that gives this seed a 19. Solid. Okay, I'm going to do the review for this seed just a little bit differently because I'll be honest, after looking around everything at the spawn and everything within 400 blocks and also underground, I was going to conclude that this is like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10 spawn quality area. It's only really helped by the fact that it has almost all the trees, birch, spruce, dark oak, as well as regular wood over there. It's really, really nice to have. And then the closest area you can build in is hundreds of blocks away, and there's no real other structures till then, except the thing that really wowed me is the fact that you can head literally 40 blocks away and find this giant cave. I think this gets some real spawn utility points for having both of the dripstone caves and the lush caves in it. But do you know what else you can find in this cave with no extra work required? You literally can follow this all the way down with basically no major falls. That is right, the trial chamber is immediately breakable. If you want to get into this thing without using a single pickaxe, if you want to, you can break straight into it. It is a terrible, terrible idea to do that because you'll be into a room which has enemies which you'll have to fight in some way. But still, I love this trial chamber's accessibility, and I think that adds, so it's a 10 out of 10. There is no easier way I can conceive of getting into a trial chamber we'll find today. I think that adds something to the spawn quality. I think that brings us up to a 6. And I think as far as uniqueness goes, if we don't include the uniqueness of this trial chamber, which is already accounted for with variable number 1, I think, with variable number 2 there, I think that we would have to say that this is good. It's something that is really, really unique, but not in a way that makes it like, yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. I think this is a 6 out of 10 for uniqueness. It's cool to have all these trees, but it's unique in ways that aren't good to me, so I would feel bad giving it more than that, but that still means we're up to a 21, which means we're a joint second for this seed, would recommend if you only care about the trial chamber and nothing else. This next Minecraft seed is an island, and that is the uniqueness of it, but the island doesn't really have anything on it, and it's a little bit of distance to go to the next thing, and even worse is this doesn't truly work as survival island, not just because it doesn't have any wood, which can be fun by itself, but because of the fact that if you want to enjoy the trial chamber, which was the point of today's search, here's how you have to do it. You have to dig down and then go quite a bit into the ocean, and then you'll be able to. Even the closest bit of the trial chambers is only barely below the island itself, and so ultimately I think the best thing you can say about this seed is, well, it's a big trial chamber. We've got our solid 4 different chambers in there, but otherwise it is, I just don't have much great to say about this seed. I gave it a good look around hoping like, oh, but it'll be amazing if we just go over here surely. Nope, these mountains are the best thing about it. Maybe the ruin portal and the shipwreck could be considered good too, but as far as spawn area quality goes, it's a 3. It's a 2 even, because the one special thing about this seed is the survival island, and it doesn't work very well at that, because you can see other stuff from it. The accessibility to the trial chamber is decent. It's a 6 in my opinion. You just gotta dig down from the right spot and then go through some water. It is very, very close to the spawn, but the water thing makes it down to a 5, I think. So then finally, uniqueness is, it's not a 1, it's not a 2. A 3 might be me being mean to it, so I'll give it a 4. That's what we're going for. 2, 4, 4, 10. Is this the worst rated seed so far? Let's hope we find one to dethrone our best, but let's go into seed 14 and hope it's that. Oh, Minecraft crashed. My cape has changed as I end up in seed number 14. So this one is a much more stereotypical Minecraft spawn. I feel like there were years where this was all you would get when you loaded into a Minecraft world. But what do you get below it? Well, let's find out. Oh, we don't have our commands loaded. We have to manually type them in because Minecraft crashed. So down below, you can see there's a cave, literally directly below you. That's nice. We also have a wonderful 5 trial chambers. 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4 over here and a 5 all the way down there. That is a above average trial chamber, and it's also pretty easily accessible from the surface, but even better than that, you can access a abandoned mineshaft on the way down here. So I would say that this is pretty nice. A look around the rest of the world tells me, wait, is that what I think it is? This is my favorite Minecraft bug. If you're watching this video, now is the time to remind you that this isn't a seed specific problem. It is just something Minecraft randomly does where it decides to spawn shipwrecks in midair. But yeah, sometimes you crash a boat so hard that it gets stuck hundreds of blocks above the surface of the water. But yeah, looking around the rest of the seed, I can honestly say there is nothing that would compel me to play this one. I have been really excited about quite a few of the different seeds we've gone through so far, but this one just makes me go, well, I guess it's cool that there's a savanna plateau and a swamp and a forest. But that's about as positive as I can say. If you could guarantee there was a floating shipwreck, I still would say it's fine. But yeah, if you want a great trial chamber, this is a wonderful spawn area. I can give it as high as a 5 if I'm being generous. Accessibility for the trial chamber is also a 5, but uniqueness is all the way down at 4. It's just not an amazing example of the seed, but this is why we're going into these manually, and why we have one more that I've got to do that for. And so let's see if it can dethrone the king. Okay, first thoughts. Looks more than fine. As you can see, there's a village and a ruined portal back there, and you're also in a big forest that has easy access to both an ocean and a plains biome. They're easy biomes to take for granted, but they are quite handy. Then, if we go underground, which is my plan right now, we can see that just below here is a big cave. Oh my god. I bet there's a way to jump into this cave, actually. Yeah, if you just go 50 blocks away from spawn, you'll find this entrance into a huge cave. I love this as a feature, and it's not just any huge cave, it's a huge cave with access to a deep, dark biome. You're not going to have an ancient city, but you will be able to get some sculpt blocks, which is always nice, free experience, and also a ton of diamonds I can see just from here. But even better than both of those things is what we'll find linked into this giant cave. Because if you notice, Minecraft has gone a lot better at hiding trial chambers. If you find one of these big blobs in a cave like this, odds are that hiding somewhere behind it is something like this. A trial chamber. Yeah, they've gotten really, really good at hiding it. It's very strange because they look so perfectly rounded around the edges, but this is a well-hidden trial chamber, and it's not any well-hidden trial chamber. It's one with lots of trials, at least it looks like. 1 over here, there's 2 over there, there's 3 up here, which is already pretty good. And then there's 4 down here. There's 5 over there. And maybe a 6th as well. in addition to the hallways, of course, which are valuable. No, there's 5 in total. Maybe the highest you can get, I'm judging from today. Yeah, this is such a huge trial chambers, and the fact that it's easily accessible from this giant cave makes it feel bigger, but also something handy is because it has all these extra hallways to facilitate that, it means you actually get more spawners than the trials themselves are worth. And it also means you get more opportunities of the ominous vault, so this is a really good trial chamber seed. If you are just interested in trial chambers, I like this one quite a lot as a version of that. It also comes with a really good opportunity to go caving. This will take you literal years to light up, but in a way that isn't necessarily bad, in a way that actually could prove to be quite fun. It's going to give you ores for a lifetime as well. You're going to find gold and iron and lapis and diamonds just till the end of time. That you'll never have to go branch mining on a seed like this because you'll just find so much of it otherwise. And honestly, the only shame is you don't also get an ancient city along with all of this, because there is all of this deep dark just appearing in random splotches all around it. But that means you can have a warden still if you want to kill him with your mace that you'll be getting, and also it does have that village above spawn, so actually not that terrible of a world. I'm going to go ahead and say the spawn area, it's a 7. Having a village is already nice, having biome diversity is nice, having all of the things you need is nice, and having a giant cave, also incredible. Access to the trial chambers, that's an 8 for me. You do have to dig around, but it's very obvious and there are so many opportunities to do so from this mega cave. And as far as uniqueness goes, I want to say it's more unique, but honestly it is just a 6. That gives us a total score of 21. Man, we keep ending up in the same region. Am I not being harsh enough with seeds? Should we have more towards the bottom total? But yeah, I think that means we have the results. We go through each of the last 15 scores and we put them side by side, and when you rank them, there's one clear victor. And so, this is your ultimate Minecraft 1.21 seed. From the 500 seeds that we analysed, we whittled down all the way until we confirmed that this is the very best, and there's a lot of very good reasons for that. Having a pillager outpost right next to spawn, close enough to immediately go and fight if you want to, but also far enough that you're not getting spawn killed if you want it that way, very, very handy. Access to jungle wood as your first wood is also very nice, and plus, you're going to have that beautiful bright green grass, something I think is always wonderful, but even just going a step beyond that, having access to not 1 but 2 trial chambers and a giant mushroom biome makes this a seed that's not just unique but also very accessible. You can go in and immediately start going, you can kill your trial chambers on the ominous level of difficulty, meaning you'll be able to get a mace much sooner than most seeds, while also still feeling like you're not just, like goofing your way through Minecraft and cheesing your way some stuff from a chest. You still do have to fight from it, which means that this is honestly something I really like. This has been a Minecraft 1.21 Ultimate Seed Guide, and I think that this is something which I have so much to say about, and so let's go real quick. If you load up this seed, you get the pleasure of one of the biggest jungle edge biomes that I have ever seen, and this is something you should not take for granted. One of the best things in Minecraft that people love to do is to build, whether that's cities, towns, civilizations or more, and having such an easily destroyable jungle means you can have access to some of the greenest grass in Minecraft. You used to have a couple of biomes that would be this good, but they had to nerf one of them for Java parity reasons, and so this is the nicest colored grass in the game. I think almost everyone would agree, and you can have it underneath your builds, which can be very, very close by to, if you want a pillager farm or anything like that, you can do it, which can also be close to the trial chambers, so that every 30 minutes you can go back in and get that done. I think that this is something that is honestly very wonderful to see, and I hope that you all do agree. Man, there's a few interesting little tidbits to be found around this jungle. I think that the biggest problems this seed would have are going to come from the fact that there's a lot of ocean, and they're going to come from the fact that the mushroom biome has a lot of big benefits, but the downsides from it shouldn't be overstated, and so you basically have to decide between bright green grass or bright purple grass or ocean in between. There are some big long-term challenges you will face, but I think this is the best place to start, and I hope you all agree, because this is what I am declaring to be the ultimate Minecraft 1.21 seed, Ultimate 101. Give it a load up right now. But I also figured that in this video, if we're going through so much effort to make an ultimate seed, I've shown you everything about these seeds to rank them, right? And so it does cause a bit of a problem for someone who wants to play Minecraft, have a great seed, but not have any idea of why the seed is so great. And so I decided to take one seed, I decided to do a lot of searching, specifically for a seed that looked good on the surface, and then I wanted to confirm it's that way, but then I wanted to make sure that you would not know anything about why it's so good, and so just for a fun bit at the end here is one bonus seed for you that you will not know any of the coordinates for. Okay, so here is a blind seed, and to give you no spoilers about locations of things like trial chambers, but still to assure you it will be good for this update, let me tell you the one thing you'll want to do from spawn, and it's to head in the direction of the savanna biome. Except the beautiful thing about this seed that I found, just purely coincidentally while trying to work out my criteria, is the fact that if you go in any other direction, you'll also find a trial chamber. There are quite a few of them close to spawn, and so it means if you want to do the random search method, you'll be lucky. If you want to, say, go to a village, you'll be lucky. Or if you want to just hunker down at the spawn and, you know, build your first house and work it all out later, then you get a fairly interesting looking spawn. It's a savanna biome, but it's a very multi-leveled savanna biome, and so I really, really quite like this as a spawn area, and there is something just a little bit special to be had on this. There's no broken stronghold, there are plenty of access to trees, and basically anything that you could want is eventually findable. This is a blind version of Seed Sunday, where I just say, yeah, there's a village somewhat near spawn that you're probably going to want to go to, and also that there are trial chambers, but you don't know exactly where they are. If you like this version of Seed Sunday and you like the idea of blind seeds, or the idea of, I guess, what you might call, you know, if you want to be really, you know, like inflammatory, you could say non-cheating seeds. In a way, knowing exactly where stuff is on a seed can take away some of that early game challenge, and so maybe having a seed like this is the opposite of that. Let me know if you agree, or if you prefer the style of Seed Sunday where it's like, yeah, here is everything that you can see on a seed, and it's your choice what you do with that knowledge. You can forget it, you can save the coordinates, or you can do anything in between. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts, because this has been a spoiler-free seed. If you want to see the very winning seed, but none of the spoilers, you can just go back a little bit, and I hope you've all enjoyed today's Seed Sunday. It was a very, very big one, but I figured it was important because with a big update comes a big surge of people who are going to want to find their seed, and hopefully I provided that. Thank you for watching, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.